Okay, sounds good.
Right. Thank you, Dr. Purva Merchant, for doing this. And today we have with us Dr. Purva Merchant. She is currently in Washington. She's a pediatric dentist. She finished her BDS in Government Dental College, Mumbai in 2005 and a certificate in pediatric dentistry and MS in oral health sciences in Rutgers in 2007. And she is currently practicing in the state of Washington from 2007, and she owns a successful practice of pediatric dentistry there. So thank you so much for sharing your journey with us.
Yay! Thanks for the opportunity to share my journey and reflect back on the last 2 decades.
Yes. So tell us, what was your journey like being a foreign trained dentist from India, and then immediately you came to the US and did your residency over here. So tell us how your journey has been.
Yeah, maybe some PTSD there because when I start to think about the whole process, it was not straightforward, but one foot in front of the next. So let's see, finished BDS, but during BDS, took my national boards part one. After BDS, took my national boards part two, then that TOEFL, GRE, and all of that requirement, and then applied for a residency program straight to pediatrics. There was the option of applying directly to a ADA accredited specialty program in order to bypass the doing the AGD or the other general dentistry option, and 2 years of general dentistry again that some international programs offer. So I was fortunate enough to apply to a few places and accepted into a few. Then became the question of which ones are more affordable. Where do I have family, perhaps, that my parents feel safe letting me stay for 2 years? Ultimately, chose the University of Medicine and Dentistry, New Jersey, which is now Rutgers, and started my program there in 2005. Finished that, and then came the option of applying for licensure. As you know, in the United States, you have to apply for licensure per state. And so there were some states that accepted my foreign trained degree along with the 2 year ADA approved accredited program towards requirements for licensure application. Washington is one of them. Back then, Texas was one of them as well. There were like 7 or 8 different states. I'm remembering my Excel spreadsheet of like what state, what criteria, when to apply, what the deadline is, and how much the cost is per application. But I ended up applying to Washington. I had some contacts here and thought that that would be a good lead. Then let's see, got the dental license and then was like, okay, now what? Because I didn't go to school here, I didn't know anybody here. Started knocking on doors and asking for people like, oh, I'm a oh, I got my board certification as well in pediatric dentistry, which is an optional thing you can do after your specialty program. Found some dentists that were on maternity leave, that private practice owners in pediatric dentistry that were going to be going away for 2, 3 months. And I started working in those practices. So for 2 or 3 years, I worked at, I don't know, maybe 10 different offices. And I think that was an incredible education because working in so many different offices, real life in the state of Washington inspired me then to start my own practice. I felt like, okay, I had the skills and I had learned enough in those different environments to put my foot in the door. And so I'm trying to remember when now. This was 2009. Put up a sandwich board, went to an existing orthodontic office and said, hey, I see you're not here all the time. Can I use your office on the days that you're not here and start seeing kids? And that's how I started 2 days a week. Fast forward a year and a half later, took a loan and built an office out. And what are we here now? 15 years later. Wow.
Wow, that's quite a big journey. Thank you so much for sharing with us. Uh, how was your experience as an international student there? Because back then there's not a lot of people who were trying to come into the US. It was still very new. And so how was your experience as an international student over there?
We had just 5 residents that were accepted every academic year. So 5 and then 5 seniors. So it was just 10 of us that were studying in the pediatric dental residency program, of which every year the school took one international student. So one in my previous year, one in my year, and then the one year after me. So there was a precedent for this international student program. The difference was that the residents would get paid a stipend, but the international student residents would not get paid a stipend, and we had to pay our way through residence. But the international student experience, I would say, I was so committed and dedicated to whatever it took. So I had a room with four other roommates. I took a bus to school. I lived about 15 minutes away. I had one auntie who used to give me dabba. So I had a, I mean, looking back, it was a struggling time, but honestly, it wasn't so bad. It was just cold and head to the ground and just showing up every.
So candidates do ask, hey, if I do a residency, will I get paid? I'm like, you might want to ask the program directly about such questions, because as international students, mostly they do accept like tuition based that you have to pay upfront, and then you will get your degree. So that's really interesting that even back then it was the same. So, can you walk us through how you applied to residency in pediatric dentist? Even when you were back in your dental school, you were planning and then you knew that you wanted to apply to a residency. So, how did you manage to gain like experiences? Did you have like research, publications? What sort of things that you did helped your application?
Academics is one thing, obviously, but having an overall package that is interesting for the potential university to me is way more interesting from the looking from the other side, because everybody has the qualifications, but why should you be the one that they should pick? So academically, I scored number one in the university. Okay. Um, the extracurricular, I think, is where they were looking for how is this person interesting. So I was a foreign exchange student for 1 year to the United States. I represented India on the national stage during Femina Miss India, as well as during something called CSR, Super Personality Youth of It. So there were different opportunities where I had a chance to represent India. There was something called the Azad Bharat Rail Yatra to celebrate 50 years of Indian independence. I'm totally dating myself now, but this was 1997. And some of us had a chance to travel on that for a month. So I really do think that those things enhanced the application because I had a lot more to talk about other than dentistry.
I mean, just having dentistry related experiences is not enough. The schools still now they do look for well-rounded students, you know. What can you do other than dentistry? Everybody can do dentistry. That's why they're here. But then what else? Like we want to know you on a personal level. That's what the admission committee is looking for. So
That was totally my experience as well. My interview had nothing to do with dentistry and everything to do with tell us about you and why.
how did you navigate the licensing process, and what made you obtain like a limited license than like, you know, going for the advanced standing DDS program?
I don't have a limited license. I have a license to practice dentistry in the state of Washington. Now, what I do with that license is up to me. I have chosen to, in my office, I can see whoever, but because my experience is in pediatric dentistry based on my training and my residency, I've chosen to just restrict my practice to pediatrics. But legally in Washington, there is no license for just specialty. I consider myself to be, I mean, all dentists are a little bit ADD and a little bit OCD, right? Like you have to have that level of attention to detail and know everything about your subject. And so dentistry to me started to feel too vast. Like there is no way I could know the latest and greatest in implant technology as well as in pediatrics, as well as in orthodontics as it was changing and becoming clear aligners, as well as. So it became clear to me that this field is vast enough that I need to find a specialty. And in every other specialty, I would be giving up something. So, for example, if you're doing ortho, you're never going to extract a tooth in your life. If you're doing oral surgery, you're never putting braces on. If you're doing endo, you're only looking through a scope. But pedo felt like all of it and more, because now you're adding child psychology, behavior management, patient interaction. So you're adding a whole other aspect. So pediatric dentistry started looking very interesting to me as a specialty. And so I only applied to pediatric residency programs. I actually did apply to a PROS, I don't know why, but I applied to a PROS program.
It's like when you were doing your research, did you find any programs which were more accepting to foreign trained dentists than say others? Like how was your experience?
Yes, I have some colleagues from my BDS program in India that also applied during my time, different pathways. But I have friends that went to UPenn. They seem to accept international students. Tufts, in Boston, BU in Boston, UMDNJ, which was my school, also had some residents from India, and Fort Lauderdale in Florida used to accept international students, and University of Washington, but just within the prosthetic department.
Us about practice ownership. I know you were an internationally trained dentist, and then you were on the student visa, and then later after you finished, how was all the visa process, and how you did it, like to start a practice on your own? So can you walk us through that?
Yeah, certainty at every path, as every
Yeah.
international student knows. Let's see, my journey was I had a visitor visa. Then after that, I had a student visa. And then I had the OPT for 1 year. And during the OPT is where I had to figure out how am I getting my visa sponsored or who's doing that. There were some dental offices, larger offices, mostly DSOs, that were willing to do the paperwork for a visa sponsorship. So that was one of my options. But meanwhile, I ended up getting engaged and married to my now husband, who was in the process of applying for permanent residency in the country and manner. So then I was on a green card for almost 10 years. And so during that process, as we were waiting for the next step, which was citizenship, so that was the process. That was a time during which I was able to get a loan to start the practice.
I know it's the immigration issue is one of the main questions which I get often asked, like, oh, after I finish the DDS in US or a residency in US, can I open up a practice? I'm like, there are some steps that you need to do before that.
I have a lot of empathy for those that are trying to navigate this process. But my thought is one step at a time. By the time you get to that stage, more windows will open up for you. You cannot have the whole, like we think in India, 10th, then 12th, then dentistry, then this, then marriage, then child. Like you have this entire thing. Life doesn't work that way, and life in a transition as an international student definitely doesn't work that way, because you think you're headed in one direction and then you're presented with a crossroad and you have to make a decision on the fly. So some of it is right place, right time, some of it is lining up your ducks, and then finally it is, I don't know, the universe.
Yeah, I know. It's just like take one step at a time. So I have students who ask me, "Oh, what this, what that." I'm like, "Have you even passed your INBD exam?" They're like, "No." I'm like, "Okay, can you just finish your INBD and maybe then let's talk?" So, yeah, I totally understand what you're
I'm,
saying.
I'm sure you're a wealth of information and support for them. Like during my time, there wasn't this opportunity to get so much information so quickly. You had to pick up the phone and call universities, and that was always not a cheap call to make. So, this is a better time in many ways, and it's a worse time in other ways.
Yes, and I mean the competition is higher day by day. So the last question would be, so Dr. Merchant, if you had to do the process again, would you do anything different?
I think, I mean, this is easy for me to say looking back, but I think I would try to enjoy the journey a bit more. So I
Yeah.
remember being really stressed and really like, if this doesn't happen, I have to go back to India. If this doesn't happen, I have to go back to India. Like at every stage, it was like, so it's easy to look back and say, and I hope somebody in their 20s can hear this and feel like it's gonna be okay. If not here, you'll end up somewhere. Just be persistent, be hardworking, be dedicated, be authentic, and follow your passion. I feel like the rest will follow.
Yes. Thank you so much for all your wonderful tips and insights. I'm sure the people who are watching this video will take few pointers and then hope that their journey is as successful as yours.
Yeah, I really hope. I mean, what you're doing is amazing. You're inspiring a whole generation of people to have some light at the end of the tunnel. So kudos to you and what you're doing.
Thank you so much.